Hi guys, so in this lecture we'll just take a pause because before we create what we are supposed to, like the increment and decrement application, I just need to take a pause and I need to tell you how the React flow works. Now I came across this diagram around the internet from some of the brains. I don't know how it got created, but this is a very good diagram that explains on what things happen. So I will really want us to walk through this diagram so that we can wrap around our head on what we are going to create and how things are going to work. So to start with, everything is your UI, user interface. So the moment you see something on the screen, like in our case we see the buttons as well as the data like the number 0, so that's our UI for us. Now what happens is when you do something on the user interface, it triggers an action, and that's what we do when we do an increment or a decrement button click. So that is nothing but triggering an action. Now action does whatever it is supposed to do, and then it sends the data as well as the action type. So whatever is the action type, let's say there might be multiple action types that are possible, so it sends the data or the payload as well as the action type to the reducers. Now reducer is where your actual functioning will be, or actual logic that will sit in for that particular action. So let's say if you have said increment something, in that case all action will do is pass a payload, which means any input data it has, and give it to reducer. Reducer will then update the data, and there will be a logic inside reducer which will be just a block of code that will actually execute and return something. So once the reducer finishes processing, what it does is it updates the store. Now store is nothing but the main object that will hold all our data for the application. So I hope you are still with me. So we start with the user interface. There is an action trigger. Action then processes some data and then passes a payload as well as the action type to reducer, and then the reducer does all the logic work and then returns or probably stores the data into the store. Now store also contains the state of your application when it comes to the React applications. Now what happens is state is nothing but state is something that defines your user interface. So this cycle completely elaborates on what we are going to see and how things will work. So I repeat again. So first, user interface, user clicks on something, action is passed. Increment action as an example. So when the increment action is performed, it is then internally by Redux passed on to the reducer with the action type of increment number. Now reducer does the processing of adding one number to it, and when the reducer adds one number to it, it then updates the store. Now when the store is updated, store updates the state because ultimately store contains the states. And now once the state is updated, your user interface will automatically get updated or refreshed because it's React. So the moment you update the state, the component gets updated. So that's in a gist on what we are going to do in our application. I hope this will make your life a little easier as we go through. So if you have any questions around this, I would say just print it out or probably keep a snapshot of this image, so that will keep everything fresh in your mind as you code. And if you still have any questions or any comments, let me know in the Q&A section or in the comments below. I'll be super happy to help you. I'll see you in the next class.